and Craig Smoak.
Alvin Brooks III, Baylor men's basketball assistant coach. They play TCU tomorrow at home, Farrell Center. Joins us, Sikkim 365 Radio. AB, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Has there been a hangover at all, you think, from the injury to Jonathan?
First of all, thanks for having me. And I think, initially I think you do have a hangover just because of, I don't think people realize how much time they spend together, and it's a real brotherhood. And so when one of your brothers go through something that he's going through, and, Jonathan has a great spirit and brings a lot of energy. And so when that's not around, I think it's adjustment for everyone. And so, it's definitely not an excuse by any means, but, I definitely think that everyone is having to adjust, and some guys have to adjust to a different role, a bigger role, and a little bit of a different position, to be honest.
How much difference is it with a week, though, to prepare for some of those different roles? With you guys kind of had the news, you had a couple days, you have to figure it out as a coaching staff what you really want to do, and then to execute it in practice is only really 2 days of doing that. So how much difference do you think it'll make these couple of days you have before TCU tomorrow to adjust to those new roles?
It gives you a couple more days to be able to practice different lineups and give you an opportunity to, to look at, different matchups or different, lineups that, can you go big here? Can you go small here? Can this guy play this position? How many plays do they know at each position? That's the biggest thing. And then also just defensively making sure that we can continue to guard at a high level and stand out of foul trouble because we're going to need guys to play a little bit more minutes than what they played in the past.
Alvin, looking back at that Texas Tech game, what was kind of the prevailing thoughts coming out of that one?
They were the toughest team that night. I think it's not a complicated game by any means. They made plays, and they made a lot more tougher plays than we did at the end of the day. And I think that's something that gave us an opportunity to look at film and also gave us an opportunity to correct. And so we feel like they had a night where they were just tougher than us. And so we have to look in the mirror and get better at it and move forward.
Yeah, and there's been, 3 games which got away. I know Oklahoma State, but the way Kansas and then Alabama almost, and then in that one, is that something that's been kind of a surprise that perhaps you guys were out-hustled, out-energied, and outplayed?
No, I thought we played well the first half. And again, I think it's an adjustment period, and I think we maybe got a little tired the second half. And so when we did make the times where we didn't, make a couple plays, they made the plays, and they subbed quite a bit. And so it's a part of it. I think it's a learning experience. I think we don't have the experience that they have. They're grown men. They don't have a freshman at all. Their guys are 22, 23 years old, and I think people forget, like, we have some 18-year-olds that's playing a lot of minutes. And so the experience that they had kind of took over a little bit all around, and it's definitely something that we'll continue to learn from.
And wasn't that kind of the compliment to your team last year when you beat Gonzaga, and also how you hammered Houston, was that you guys were almost, excuse my French, but like grown-ass men?
No, you're right. Every guy in the top 8 last year was in our program minimum of 2 years, and some of them 3 years, and in Mark Vital's case, 5 years. So, the experience that they had, we had the habits that you needed to win in any environment. And so, right now, we have some older guys, but at the same time, we still, with the injuries, we still gelling every week because, we've had somebody out since January 8th. Actually, since the last time we played TCU, we hadn't had our whole team back now one game since January 8th. So every game you're adjusting to somebody playing a different role.
Did you guys know? I know you knew he was good when he came in, James Akinjo, but did you realize he was as tough as he was to play through what he's done so far this year?
From talking to, we try to do our research, and so from talking to all the people that he's played for, from AAU to each college that he's played for, he's done that everywhere he's been. So, all it does is just shows that the people that gave us the information, they actually told us the truth. So, and we're kind of glad that they did, because a lot of times that don't happen. But I mean, he's a tough kid, and he's playing through a lot. So we definitely appreciate him for that.
Alvin, with the success you guys have had over the years, I mean, there's typically teams always kind of chasing you guys in some ways, but you were also chasing as well. You were part of the hunter pack, and now you became the hunted once you accomplished what you did last year. Is there a noticeable difference in being the hunted versus being the hunter?
I think it is, as far as, you could tell. I'm the type of person where I get motivated off of the little small things, crazy things, but watching film after the game, you can see how the benches are celebrating when they make big plays, and they celebrate a little bit more against us than they do other teams. And so I think, things like that shows, and, obviously, you have guys banking in shots, and, just the energy level to compete against us is high. And I think that's great, because it allows us to not, take anything for granted. It allows us to compete at a high level each and every night.
You are the body language guy. That's why you're the proud body language coordinator, right?
Yes, sir. I definitely, that's something that I study a lot.
Is that something that you've always kind of even had as a young kid, or you could kind of tell what someone might be thinking, maybe thinking about you, or you had a gut instinct? Is that something that's gone well back in your life?
Yes, I've always been a quiet person. And I think, my family never thought I would coach, except a few of them, because I was so quiet as a kid. And a lot of it was because I'm a observant person. And so I would just observe a lot. And so I think naturally, I began to see, people's body language, and kind of, I'm not an expert by any means, but I could definitely, I could see it a lot, especially in sports. I could see read body language quite a bit in sports.
Can you try to read the body language Jerome Tang was in a timeout during that early second half against Texas Tech?
Well, I read his body language a lot, because he's right in front of me all the time. So I can read his body language quite a bit.
That was a timeout. I don't know if you guys, and you were there, Alvin, and it was a one-sided conversation. Well, one person was talking during that timeout.
Was it Coach Tang?
Yeah, he was in some grills, I think, during a timeout. May have been when Scott was with you guys trying to do something on the board, and then, he was very demonstrative. It was right after they made the early run in the second half, which kind of flipped the switch on that game. So, back to James Akinjo. He is an incredible talent. I don't know where you guys would be without him. I know that at times he can get a little bit wild with the ball, but where would you guys be without James Akinjo on this team?
That's a question that I'm not sure, and a question that I really wouldn't want to know the answer to.
Okay,
to be honest,
there you go.
Just because he's come in and he's done a lot for our program as far as adapting to our culture and, buying into what we believe in. He's done a great job of accepting the staff, and his brothers. And I think, he's a point guard that, he likes to score, but at the same time, I want to say last week he averaged 7 assists. And so, it's tough. I was just telling Coach Tang earlier today, and talking to my dad earlier today, it's really, really hard to be a point guard, because they're judged more than any other position, because their job is to try to make everyone else happy. And, I don't know if that's even possible in life to make everybody happy, but, even coaches, their job is to make us happy. And so he has a very, very tough job. And so, he just have to continue to do what he do and try to continue to make everybody happy, and continue to also have the success that he want to he want to have.
Do you think it's even been more difficult because of who he replaced?
Yes, I think from the public view,
Yeah.
it has been, but not for us. I think, one thing that we did not want to do is compare any of our guys to anyone from last year. And so, every year is a different year. And even, we have some of the same players from last year, and we didn't want to compare them to, if you think about it, John, how many threes did he shoot last year? And then if you look at John this year, how many threes were he allowed to shoot? So if we compare John last year to this year, then we'd be like, no, John, we don't want you to shoot threes.
Right.
And so I think, every year we don't try to compare anyone to the previous year. And so the public eye, I'm sure they may be comparing him to, the guards that we had. And, I think that's really unfair because everyone have their own game.
One more thing then. Did you think that when you guys were 15-0, you even had national analysts talking about how this team might be better than last year's team? Was that dangerous?
I thought it was, obviously it's dangerous because, last year's team, how can you get better than the national championship?
Yep.
So
Yep.
I think it's dangerous in that sense. But, I think the difficult part is we would never know because we would never have the entire team together if everyone was healthy to see if we could have made a run at, having a historic run. But, everything happens for a reason. And so, we have guys that's hurt. And so we just got to figure it out. And then, we have a lot of basketball left and we have a chance to continue to win championships. So we just got to continue to get better every day.
Alvin, thoughts on TCU? Know you guys played them about 5 weeks ago, but what's changed? How you view them going into tomorrow?
They're a very tough team. They're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. They know their roles. Coach Dixon teams are always tough. They don't run a lot of complicated things, and the things that they run, they're very good at it because it's something that they just do. And, Mike Miles is, one of the best guards in the league, and Eddie Lampkin is playing at a high level the last 5 games. And, we got to do a great job of keeping them off the boards and trying to be the toughest team.
Alvin, thank you, man. Appreciate your time. I know TCU does pound the boards, and that's something that got you on Wednesday night in Lubbock. We appreciate your time. All of the assistant coaches, of course, Coach Drew, every other Monday as well. Thank you very AB. Alvin Brooks, Baylor assistant coach. When we come back from men.